the great equalizer for any game that the Chiefs are in. So I mentioned to you, we have an action-packed show this evening. Sal Pao is going to be joining me at the bottom of this hour. We got Sean Green who'll be live on Radio Row, Gary Myers later on. But I'd like to bring this gentleman on right now, who is a Hall of Fame inductee 2022, a 15-year head coach in the National Football League with Philadelphia, Super Bowl winner with the St. Louis Rams and the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's Coach Dick Vermeil. Coach, welcome to This Week in Pro Football.
Nice to see you, Pat. How are you?
All right. Thank you very much for joining me. I will not waste your time. We're going to get right into some
time. I appreciate that. Talking football, believe me.
Yes, we'll talk some football right now because I wanted to start with this. The 2 weeks, Coach, between the championship games and the Super Bowl, do you see that? I mean, you went through that as a coach. Is that a plus for both the coach and the team, or is it actually, could it be a little bit of a minus?
No, it's no minuses. There are no minuses, because I'm maybe the only coach that ever coached Super Bowls that experienced both situations.
Right.
When we went with the Eagles, we had 2 weeks, which gave me more time to screw them up. But when St. Louis, we didn't have a bye. We played Tampa Bay in the championship game on a Sunday in St. Louis. 3 o'clock the next day, we were on a plane flying to Atlanta. And that was a real disadvantage. The reason, Pat, all these kids are human beings. They all have families and wives and grandparents and all that kind of stuff. And no one can buy a ticket to a game, airline ticket, make hotel reservations or anything until they know you're going to the Super Bowl.
Right.
So all of a sudden, we have the second time I go, we have 7 days to condense all that kind of organization. And it's a distraction. Now, fortunately, we won the football game. Because we took 5 Hall of Famers along with us. Okay, that makes a difference to that kind of.
That always helps, yeah.
Yeah, well, you bet. Especially Isaac Bruce and Kurt Warner, Orlando Pace, Marshall Falk, Torrey.
And I certainly hope Torrey Holt too. I certainly hope so.
He didn't make it this year, but he will make it.
Yeah.
But anyway, when we went to St. Louis, we didn't have that advantage from St. Louis, and it really caused for me. I wanted to bring family from California.
Yeah.
This kind of people, and it was difficult.
Right.
And your own kids, So I think that the week by should always be a mandatory. I don't know if it's ever organized to the point in the future that we will not have that week by.
Right.
It's not fair to everybody that really has earned the right to go to the game, Pat.
Right. Okay. All right, Coach. Now, you have a unique perspective here in that you coached in both organizations. First, obviously, with Philadelphia, where you turned what was, let's face it, the Eagles were a moribund franchise before you got there. And because I lived it. I've been living in Philadelphia boy forever. And then you went to Kansas City, and they were a perennial playoff team when you were there. Can you compare the two organizations? Do you think there's a lot of similarities in them? Are there any stark differences between how the two organizations conduct their business?
Well, first off, you have to realize I did not work for Jeffrey Lurie. I worked for Leonard Rose. And I have great respect for the job he has done and admiration and respect for the job Howie Roseman's done. It's unbelievable, the job he's done. You talk about providing a team with talent to coach. This guy's done a wonderful job.
All right.
And in Kansas City, I worked for the Hunt family.
Right.
And Lamar and I became very close.
Okay.
And he appreciated my approach, and I appreciated his contribution and the kind of man that he was. And we became good friends.
Right.
I didn't have that advantage with Jeffrey because, I didn't. Excuse me 1 second.
That's all right. Good. Thank God it's yours. I thought it was mine.
Yeah. But I didn't have the opportunity to work for Jeffrey. But I know you talk about it now. Okay, this is the third time they've been to the Super Bowl since he's an owner.
I know.
That's a great tribute to what he has done. And I don't know how many owners can say that other than in New England.
Yeah.
Dallas, how many years has it been since Dallas has been there? Okay.
Yeah, I know. And yet, it's funny, isn't it? Something how that they end up, but you can't get them off national TV. It's something how certain franchises they just perpetuate, go on and on. Dallas, they haven't been there since I think the mid '90s.
And the other thing, Pat, everything is so much more sophisticated and advanced today in contrast to 1980. Okay. It's just, as you know, the comparison I use, Pat, is in 1980, if you drove a Cadillac, you drove a beautiful American car. Well, that car in 2023 is much more sophisticated. Football is equivalent to that.
Right.
The game we played in 1980, and, we had a dirty dozen offensive plays and a number of passes and everything. But today, the volume of offense and the defense and everything they play within the single game is just so much more.
Right.
Therefore, it's a better spectator sport actually than it used to be. Yeah.
Now, that's a great segue from my next question, which is about Coach Reid, because Coach Reid really probably Coach Vermeil has seen both sides of what you just described. He's been a head coach for 24 years in the National Football League, and he's been phenomenally successful. And he's about to become, probably in September of 23, he'll become the winningest coach in Chiefs history. They've been around since 1960. Right. So my question is, how does he do it? How does he not only perpetuate being a winner as a coach, but how does he sustain that kind of hard work?
Well, first off, Pat, he has great emotional stamina and control. You know, he's been through some adversity in his life. He's also lost some big games. Yeah. You know, but he's always been able to keep it in proper perspective and keep moving forward. And when you've coached 24 years, what you've done offensively, defensively, and special teams, you've had an opportunity to value what you thought was really good, right? And you found out isn't as good, and you found out some things that were really good that just keep getting better, and you keep building an offense over that many years of experience.
Yeah,
and you know who could surprise Andy Reid after 24 years?
That's right.
You know the wisdom and the experience that he has. There's nobody like him in the league right now.
No. Not many coaches are surprising him. You're right about that.
So I think that the added experience that he's had, added to his intelligence and native ability to lead and coach within his own style, has made him a very, very unique football coach.
Plus, it appears from the outside that his players are intensely loyal to him.
Oh, no question. They appreciate it because, you know, first off, he has integrity. Yeah, he doesn't BS the troops.
Yeah.
You know, if you want an honest answer, just ask Andy Reid. Now, you may not like the answer.
Well, I'll tell you, and of course, you mentioned Howie Roseman, Reid, and the brain trust at Kansas City. They deserve credit because they jumped up a number of spots to draft Patty Mahomes, and that was about as good a trade as you'll ever see in the NFL when they moved up to get in.
Yeah, and you have to again congratulate Clark Hunt for allowing Andy Reid to build his own personnel department. Yeah. Andy hired the general manager, not the ownership.
That's right.
Andy hired him. And he put together his own personal staff. And Andy really stays out of most personnel now, other than final decisions.
Yeah.
It's just too much today.
Yeah. But you need a lot of coin as a general manager to hire your own coach, and he's got it. He's got it.
You know, so not many owners that allow that anymore.
No, that's right. That's
right.
Really
should, but they don't. Fortunately for Nick Sirianni, he's got Howie.
Yeah,
he's done a better job in the last couple of years than Howie's done.
All right, Coach. Let's turn our attention, if we could, just to this game here. I just wanted to ask you. I've mapped out. I guess everybody really has, and I wanted to ask you, what must Philadelphia do to win this game? Are there one or two things in your mind that the Eagles must do to win this game Sunday?
Well, be what they are and be what they were, and don't try to reinvent the wheel. You know, they beat people because of Jalen Hurts. Is a combination of both run and pass, which controls defensive coverages and schemes. You know, can't play a lot of man. You better not blitz and all these different kinds of things against him. And I think if they stay true to their personality, they're going to be very difficult to beat. And granted, Holmes is going to make some plays anyway.
Right.
So the team that is fortunate enough to play the most disciplined football they can play by not committing a foul when you scored a touchdown is called back,
right?
Or you sack the quarterback and you're going to get the ball, make them punt, and you defensive holding and you give them a first down, they go down and score and beat you. You can't do that in this country.
Exactly. Right.
So it's critical that, and someone said that to me today. It's unlike baseball in the NBA. It's not the series of best of 7. It's the best of 1.
Yes.
The best team may not win the game. If you don't play well today, you don't win it. That's all there's to it.
Like during media day, a genius scribe asked Coach Sirianni, "Is this a must-win game?" I mean, you must have faced questions like that. You just want to, you just want to stand up and I guess walk out of there. I guess, right?
Yeah. The only negative that can come out of Nick Sirianni's career so far, and winning a Super Bowl, is the standard is set so high that in Philadelphia they will never accept anything less.
Yeah. Yeah.
Than, that's
yeah.
They it just you know how they are. I told the young coach of St. Louis Rams a few years ago, you won too soon. You won too soon. It's going to make it really tough because everyone, of course, Los Angeles isn't as intense as Philadelphia or as passionately involved with their team.
No.
But everyone holds you to that standard. It is tough to meet that standard every year.
Yeah, it is, and especially in Philadelphia. It's a tough town, and they are
especially
passionate. As if I need to tell you how passionate Philadelphia fans are about the Eagles. It's certainly not. But you mentioned about they have to be true to what they were. The Eagles were 5th in the league in rushing. Kansas City was 20th. Don't you? My theory is that the better the Eagles stay true to that and run the ball, the more number 15 stands on the sidelines.
No question. But what we don't in all the stats, I have in front of me, I'll show it to you right here. Okay. It's dated week 8 of the season.
Right.
Of my Bud Goody, Bill Saunders computer reports. Old stuff. It has the Eagles going 15-1. The computer wasn't set up to incorporate the 17th game of the season.
Right.
Okay. Right. So it had the Eagles and the Chiefs playing in the Super Bowl.
There you go. You go.
But what it doesn't predict is how much the Chiefs defense improved the last half of the season.
Yeah, right.
These are 17 game stats rather than the last 5 weeks of the season. You know, the Chiefs defense got a lot better.
I know, Coach.
Better.
Yep. I don't think a lot of Philadelphia fans realize that the Eagles, while the Eagles had 70 sacks and led the league, guess who was number 2? And that was Kansas City. So, I mean, this is not you're right. This is a defense that got markedly better the second half of the season. And it's not going to be a pushover. So now let me get to this now. I know you as a coach, you may not want to do this. You're both organizations. Do you have a prediction? Do you have any confidence one way or the other in how you think it's going to go?
Well, I'll tell you this. My computer predicts the Eagles to win by 4.
All right.
It hasn't been wrong much during the year.
Okay.
All right. Me, I say this. I'm going to root for both teams to win and then feel real bad for the team that loses.
All right. That's more than fair. That's more than fair, Coach.
I know family so well, and I know Andy Reid so well. I don't know Nick as well. I never worked for Jeffrey, but I have great admiration and respect, and I lived there. I went in the Hall of Fame as an Eagle. So I'm going to sit and watch the game and then be happy for the team that wins.
All right. Well, listen, I certainly appreciate it. I appreciate you taking this time. I want everyone, please go to vermeilwines.com. I wonder, do you still have that bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon that you were going to give Morton Anderson when the league told you couldn't do it?
No, I gave it to him.
Oh, did you?
I gave it to him on Thursday rather than Monday.
Good for you.
Chardonnay right now.
There you go. Well, listen, Coach Vermeil, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks again, and best of luck to you and all your future pursuits, okay?
All right. Thank you, buddy. Take care.
All right. Great. Dick Vermeil joining us here on This Week in Pro Football, and you can't get better insight than that from a guy who's been there twice. He won it once, and I particularly appreciated the insight on the 2-week. I thought maybe as a coach, they might think, you know what, 2 weeks is too much. You start tinkering with the game plan. You start getting away, as Coach said, from doing what brought you there. He didn't see it that way. So interesting. All right, listen, we get back. We're going to take a short break here. We get back. Sean Green joins us for the Sports Gambling Podcast. He's on Radio Row somewhere, and we'll talk some props and some picks on the Super Bowl when we get back here on This Week in Pro